Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, and today we have something of a first on this channel. I have never shown you this ship before. It's not a very common ship. Soul Ending Depression here, yes that's his name. Soul Ending Depression here obviously has one, but not many other people do, in comparison to the other steel ships that are available, the Stalingrad, the Bourgogne for example. I think that's one of the reasons why it's so, well, relatively rare, because you can only get it for steel, and that's not a particularly common resource. And I think the other reason why this ship is as rare as it is because if you do have steel to spend, there are far better things to spend your steel on, like the Stalingrad, like the Bourgogne. I myself only have one steel ship, and it's not this, it's the USS Black. It's not that the New Strashimi is a bad ship. It's not. It's actually quite outstanding in certain respects, although it's decidedly average and below average in others. It's just that, well, there are better steel ships available. So Soul Ending Depression either really, really, really likes his Soviet Tier 9 destroyers, or he's already blown all of his steel on other, better ships. So let's start by getting the good news out of the way first. What exactly is this ship good at? And a quick look at the minimap, and yeah, that is a 5.6 kilometer surface detection range. This is a distinctly un-Russian destroyer as far as its concealment is concerned. That is absolutely outstanding stealth. The ship also has a huge range of consumables available. As well as your standard damage control and smoke generator, it can also equip defensive anti-aircraft fire, repair party, yes, the ship gets a heal, and an engine boost. And the engine boost is going to be extremely useful because this is not a particularly quick destroyer. It only has a top speed of 36 knots. It is definitely recommended, however, because by default you only get one charge of each consumable, with the exception of the defensive AA. So it's definitely recommended that you use premium consumables if you don't already, for an extra charge, and you also invest 3 points in the Superintendent Commander skill, so that you'll end up with 3 charges of each consumable, 5 charges of defensive AA. Next, and appropriately enough, since Soul Ending Depression is aiming them at that ISMO at the moment, let's talk about the torpedoes. So the New Strashimi gets 2 torpedo launchers, and these torpedoes do a lot of damage. Nearly 18,000 damage per hit, minus your target's torpedo damage reduction. That's more damage than any of the torpedoes available on the Grozavoy, on which this ship is kind of loosely based. Comparisons with the Grozavoy, however, start to become quite unfavourable from this point in, because not only is the Grozavoy 3.5 knots faster, it also gets an extra 130mm twin gun turret. As a gunboat, the New Strashimi is decidedly mediocre. Well, hang on a second, Jingles, what about the Friesland? That only has 2 turrets and 4 guns. Well, yeah, but the Friesland doesn't have a 4-second reload. It may have the same number of guns, and they may even be smaller caliber, but they only do 50 less damage per shot, and the Friesland spits them out more than twice as quickly. So it's recommended with the New Strashimi, as Soul Ending Depression is doing here, and as he's just demonstrated on that extremely unfortunate ISMO, that you maximise your destroyer's torpedo capabilities. Now, by default, these torpedoes do have a fairly stiff reload, more than 2 minutes. But if you do what Soul Ending Depression here has done, and you invest in Torpedo Modification 3 for equipment and possibly also the Torpedo Armament Expertise skill, he's managed to get the reload of the torpedoes down to just over 1.5 minutes. And remember, these torpedoes do a lot of damage, nearly 18,000 per hit. They're also relatively quick, with a speed of 65 knots. The range may only be 10 kilometers, but when you're in a Soviet destroyer that has a concealment range of 5.6 kilometers, it's not difficult to get close enough to use them. But you really have to be careful about radar cruisers, because the closer you get, the further you have to run away to get out of radar range. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Suddenly, there were Shimakaze torpedoes. The Shimakaze in the smokescreen behind us appears to have forgotten rule number 1. Say it with me, kids. Smokescreens are torpedo magnets. If you absolutely definitely must sit inside a smokescreen, then at the very least position yourself so that you're presenting as small a cross-section as possible towards incoming torpedoes, or in such a way that you can quickly accelerate to get out of the way. Neither of which that friendly Shimakaze did. Those aren't the biggest sins that are going to be committed by a Shimakaze captain in this battle, however. Just pay attention, you won't have to wait long, trust me. Now, having already flipped one cap, with the team in possession of 2 caps, and with that relatively quick, just over 1.5 minute torpedo reload, Soul-Ending Depression has managed to get some more torpedoes in the water in the direction of the enemy Iowa, who has managed to avoid all of them, so well done, Iowa. And he's now heading in the direction of the lone capture point controlled by the enemy team. First, however, he's going to have some fun with this Iowa. Now, having missed him with the first set of torpedoes, he's going to try to troll him into using his damage control by setting some fires. And for that reason, I don't recommend that you take the IFHE skill on this destroyer, because that reduces the chance of setting fires, and really, with only 4 guns with a 4-second reload, setting fires is all they're really good for. And the Iowa, proving that there is a sucker born every minute, has used his damage control to extinguish a single fire while charging a smoke screen that definitely contains an enemy destroyer. And with the damage control on cooldown, if these torpedoes don't sink him outright, he's going to have all kinds of problems dealing with the flooding. So if the torpedoes don't sink him, I guarantee you the flooding will. So hands up anybody who thinks that the Iowa, who extinguished a single fire and then charged a smoke screen containing a destroyer a 1.5 minutes after he'd seen the first set of torpedoes, is going to survive this. No, I didn't think so. The dumbassery does not end there, however. Note the Shimakaze, who has just been radared by the Buffalo in the lone cap controlled by the enemy team. I really don't know what it is about Japanese torpedo destroyer captains in general, and Shimakaze captains in particular. It's as if they just don't seem to realise that they actually have guns, as well as torpedoes. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, but Japanese torpedo destroyers' guns are terrible. They are. The guns are terrible. But the shells that they fire are really good. First, though, Soul-Ending Depression needs to make sure he's no longer getting shot at by the Grosser Kurfürst's secondaries. Note the Shimakaze, still trying to hide inside his own smokescreen while radared, therefore unable to see out of the smokescreen and unable to see and return fire at Soul-Ending Depression's Nustrashimi. Note that he's still not firing his guns, even though he could briefly see Soul-Ending Depression's Nustrashimi, and is instead continuing to try to torpedo a destroyer that has an island between him and the source of the torpedoes. Note that he is now turning the ship around in order to try to duck back in behind the island, ensuring that the guns are now all pointing in the wrong direction, thereby ensuring that his 6 guns, all of which do a whopping 2,150 high explosive shell damage per hit, are completely unable to be brought to bear on his Tormentor. If he'd only fired his guns more than once, he could have easily done the 12,000 damage that would have been required to defeat what is, let's face it, a distinctly mediocre gunboat. But no, he's still still trying to sink him with torpedoes. I give up. Maybe if I keep mocking Shimakaze captains often enough, they'll eventually take the hint. But, well, I don't know. I kind of doubt it. Right, now for the Frederick the Great. Although, first we're going to finish capping. So, let's see. Speed boost's still active, although he doesn't really need it. Still got 2 heals left. And that's kind of the way this ship plays. You get into a fight, you win it, you heal up, then you get into another fight. Hopefully you win it, and you heal up, and you just, well, keep repeating until you either run out of enemies or you run out of heals. Torpedoes away against the Baltimore. Radar cruiser. So, he is inside radar range, although only just. But his best defense against the Baltimore is ensuring that the Baltimore can't return fire, even if he pops his radar, because he's going to suspect that there is a destroyer in here. So he's keeping the lee of the island between himself and his target and just trying to set some fires. I mean, any high explosive damage is welcome, but it's mostly about setting the fires. The Baltimore seems to be backing off. He's not using his radar. Soul-ending depression showed just a little bit too much skirt there and did momentarily get detected, so moving forward again to get out of line of sight, and did set a fire on the Baltimore. And the Baltimore is no longer quite so keen to push that cap as aggressively as he was, although somebody else is. I spy with my little eye something beginning with big fat stupid battleship. Here comes the Grosser Kurfürst. Now, it's entirely possible that he's not completely aware that there is a destroyer in here. I mean, yes, his secondaries bombarded Soul-ending depression earlier when he was momentarily spotted by the Shimakaze. But secondaries are automatic, unless you have manual secondaries as a skill. And the secondaries reacted so quickly that I suspect he didn't have manual secondaries. However, the torpedoes coming flooding out of the mouth to this inlet, the fact that he did just get spotted, the fact that he's about to pop a smoke screen, the fact that a Shimakaze just died in here to a Nustrashimi, all of which should be regarded as clues, perhaps, to the presence of an enemy destroyer. And yet, somehow, whether due to ignorance or just sheer bloody-mindedness, the Grosser Kurfürst still stubbornly refuses to take the hint. There's the smokescreen. I mean, let's not forget that the Grosser Kurfürst has an excellent German hydroacoustic search consumable, which has a 6-kilometre ship detection range. If he would only use it. Holy shit. Look at this. Second set of torpedoes are up. He's not even wasting using his guns on the Grosser Kurfürst now. I mean, seriously, 225,000 damage? Oh, what does it take for people to pay attention to their surroundings? Yeah. To be completely fair to the Grosser Kurfürst, I mean, he knows he potatoed, and he potatoed damn hard there. And he doesn't try to make any excuses for it. You'll see him admit as much in chat later on. But seriously, guys, pay attention to what's going on around you. Or, you know, don't. It's your call. It's entirely up to you. But if you can't remember to pay attention to what's going on around you, then could you at least do me the honour of always trying to make sure that you end up on the enemy team? Don't worry, I'm fake laughing. Only the tears are real. That Isamo's just run out of friends, hasn't he? Of course, that's the guy who was the extremely unwelcome recipient of Soul-ending depression's first set of torpedoes, and I'm pretty sure he just ate a second set of torpedoes. And who knows, maybe if he studies hard at school, passes all his exams, he'll eat a third set of torpedoes. No third set of torpedoes for him. Clearly, he didn't study hard enough. Oh, potential kill steal here on the Henri. I mean, yeah, you don't have much health, and that is an extremely hard-hitting cruiser, but he doesn't have much health either. Oh, yeah, definitely time to use the heal. That was the enemy Cleveland, taking advantage of a brief opportunity, and suddenly, now, maybe it's not such a good idea to be shooting at the Henri. Although I think the Henri has decided that he doesn't really want to get shot at anymore either, and is trying to pull into cover behind the island. But he's managed to get a heal away, so he may... No, he's dead too. At this point, with 264,000 damage done, Soul-ending depression is saying in chat that he thinks it's possible he may have just broken the world damage record for this ship. Spoiler alert, he has. The second highest amount of damage ever done in a Nustrashimi is 261,000. He's already beat that, and there's still 2 enemy ships left to be sunk. I should probably come clean at this point. Soul-ending depression is an extremely good Nustrashimi player. Admittedly, the pool of people playing the Nustrashimi isn't actually that big, for reasons that we elaborated on earlier. In fact, it is the least played Tier 9 destroyer, with only just over 9,000 battles played in total. That might sound like a lot, But if you look at the second least played Tier 9 destroyer, it's another steel ship, the USS Black. And that has 131,000 games played. So it kind of supports the theory that the only people with the Nusra Shimmy are those who've already blown all of their steel, and they will have to have earned an awful lot of steel on ships like the Burgoyne, the Stalingrad, the Black, the Summers, and then when there's absolutely nothing left to spend their steel on, they get this, and then some of them really seem to like it. Soul-ending Depression, with 174 battles played in this ship, definitely seems to like it. And it turns out he's rather good in it. He has the 15th highest personal rating in the world in this ship. He has the 16th highest average damage scored per battle in this ship. The 17th highest average experience in the world in this ship. He's number 1 in the world when it comes to the maximum amount of experience and the maximum amount of damage caused in this ship, and he's tied in first place for the maximum number of kills achieved in this ship. So he kind of likes this ship. Just in case you're curious about the maximum number of kills that anybody has ever scored in this ship, a statistic for which he's tied in first place. It doesn't happen in this battle, but he has played at least one battle in the Nusra Shimmy where he does less damage, he earns less experience, but he does manage to sink 7 enemy ships. Right now he's going for his 4th. That's got to be one very, very nervous Minotaur. The Minotaur can easily kill him. I mean, it's a Minotaur. Killing destroyers is what those things do, but it's extremely unlikely that the Minotaur is going to survive the experience, because the Nusra Shimmy is entirely capable of killing the Minotaur too. Plus, you know, there's a Frederick the Great closing in as well. Hell, the entire team's closing in. Torpedoes away. Can he get the second set away? He can. Oh, there's the Nikolai Kuznetsov. Will to victory skill, free heal, and a no. He was on far too low health. Only the one torpedo. Very disappointing. But it's extra damage, and there's no way the Minotaur is going to survive a close-range encounter with the Frederick the Great like that. And of course it's not just the Frederick the Great. Everybody who possibly can is shooting at him. So this battle is pretty much over. Any second. Come on, Fred. There it is. And that, ladies and genitals, is the world damage record in the Nusra Shimmy. 279,000 damage done. Will probably come as no great surprise to anybody that the majority of that was done with torpedoes. Only 40,000 damage done with the guns, 12,000 from fires, 18,000 from flooding. Soul-ending Depression, thank you so much for sharing that one with us. Congratulations on your world record. In fact, 2 world records, because it's the most experience anybody has ever earned in a Nusra Shimmy as well. And I hope everyone enjoyed it. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.